Good evening to you all. I'd like to introduce Colonel Ranjith Chitale. Ranjith Chitale is an MTech from IIT Chennai and has a diploma in management from Symbiosis University. He was in the army for 26 years and spent long years in flight testing field while in the army and in HAL now. My first question to you is, highlight a few memorable experiences from your chosen career as an army officer and an experimental flight test engineer.
You just told others about my biodata. In that I was 26 years in army, and during this period in 26 years, about 1/3 I was in flight testing, and after army now I have joined Hindustan Aeronautics Limited because I'm a qualified flight test engineer from Air Force, and for last 10 years I am with HL. Now what happens, actually nobody likes war, but if war is inevitable and if you are in army and if you don't participate, then you yourself feel that being in army for 26 years and you have not seen the war, that itself gives you some kind of uselessness. But for me, I was fortunately that time during Op Vijay, that is it spanned, I don't know the age of the audience, but you should read about Operation Kargil, or we can call it as Operation Vijay, which was the actual name of that. That was from May 1999 to July 1999, and it started with the very tragic gunny bag body counts of 6 of our Jawans and 1 Saurabh Kalia. You must have known that was in May, 9th May, and it followed that from June onwards the Indian government, they launched Operation Vijay, and I was one of the participant in the Op Vijay, being in Sharifabad. Sharifabad is around 20 kilometers from Baramulla, and we have a very big base of helicopters there. So that base during peace time used to have only 1 or 2 flights. Suddenly it was augmented by about 5 to 6 flights. Each flight has got around 5 helicopters. So we had at one time about 35 helicopters. And the war where we had, when in peace, we used to have only once a day briefing. We used to have thrice a day briefing starting at 4 o'clock. And the last briefing used to be at about 5 o'clock for cash evacs. So for about 2 months the war continued, and I was there. That experience, I think, changed my life, outlook of life, and I did a small squirrel part. Like in Ramayana, squirrel did her part. I did my small squirrel part in the Operation Vijay. More about Operation Vijay, if anybody has got want to know about it, they should read. Lot of information is readily available on Google, and if it is not available, if you want, you can read it in my blog. I have written it in a manner where one can understand what was the reason and why we fought that war. So that was one of my memorable event. And second most fascinating event in my life was, after the war there was a committee, and that committee brought out many lacunae, many lackings in our dealings within the army also, and what we never had in army. So the technological upliftment started from that point onwards. In that context, when I was a flight test engineer, we started weapon system integration on helicopters. That was the first time India had Indian integration of 4 different types of weapons. And then I was involved in that particular campaign or project or trials for next 10 years. And we integrated about 4 types of weapons. So these are the 2 memorable events etched in my life during army tenure and also during HL deputation and HL tenure.
Thank you, Colonel Chitale. Were there moments in your flight tests where you experienced extremely dangerous moments? Can you give a glimpse?
See what happens in flight testing. I will first let you know in a nutshell so that you will understand what is flight testing. Army, Navy, Air Force, they write their requirements based upon the threat perception, what they want. So they require one type of helicopter or fixed wing, and they also say that because of such and such threat perception, we would like to have such and such helicopter, say 5.5 ton helicopter with 4 different types of weapons, with these types of mission systems which can see about 20 kilometers ahead, or which will have a laser range finder, or it will have a laser designator. Such kind of requirements Army pose. Once the requirements come to the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, because this is the premier agency now making the defense helicopters, then the designers design the helicopter based on the classical design. After design of the helicopter, first time that the helicopter has to fly and see whether it can be flown or not before giving it to a line pilot in the Army, Navy, Air Force. Now what happens? Proof of the pudding is in eating it. So they design a helicopter, but whether it can fly successfully, it has got all safety features, that has to be flown and then tested. So this job is done by a test crew. Test crew comprises of flight test engineer and test pilot. So what we do, based on their design, we do certain testing. That testing is a classical testing, and we slowly develop the helicopter in such a way that the envelope is increased slowly. That means first we just taxi it, or first we hover it, or then first we take it to 2 kilometer altitude, then slowly we take it to 4 kilometer altitude, and then the ceiling of the helicopter. But in doing so, there may be many times when hazardous situations come. Like for example, when the helicopter was getting tested, there was that helicopter did not have a certain mode of hover mode. So when we were doing user trials in Jodhpur, we were engulfed in the dust storm. That dust storm was kicked by the helicopter itself while it was hovering, and it is called brownout in the scientific terms. So we got into that brownout, and a primary navigation, the primary aid to the pilot is the artificial horizon, or when the pilot sees outside the helicopter, he actually keeps seeing the horizon, and that becomes his cue for the hovering of the helicopter. But if that is gone, then he will not be able to hover properly. So in that situation, the helicopter may face some fatalities. So to avoid that, when we came back from that campaign, we introduced a hover mode in the helicopter. Also, during our weapon system integration, we did all our weapon system integration in ITR Chandipur. Chandipur is in Odisha, which was established by Abdul Kalam, Dr. Abdul Kalam. So when we were doing it, when we were hovering and we were firing a salvo of 48 rockets, we went into a sudden deceleration and also sudden rate of descent. That rate of descent was so much that we almost hit the sea. So that was one of the hazardous experiences which we got. And then we introduced another feature in that to hold the height and also to hold the position of the helicopter at about 300 meters. So such kind of situations tell us to improve the helicopter, and then we improve the helicopter so that the line pilot or the pilots in the squadron will be able to use it successfully, safely.
Thank you, Colonel Chitale.
Thank you.
In the defense aviation design and manufacturing, where does India stand currently vis-a-vis the West or Russia? Where are we? At what stage are we if we compare ourselves to them?
See what happens. For any development program, the government backing is required. So if we see the history of American helicopters or American or Western helicopters, the government has backed that particular company or that particular agency or organization to the hilt. For example, Apaches, which are now with us also, American Apaches. When the Apaches were designed, the government ordered massive 700 to 800 Apaches. In fact, the latest Apaches, that is called Eco, there are about 700 to 800 pieces worldwide flying. So such kind of investment if the government does, then a kind of ecosystem happens. Means ecosystem of designers, ecosystem of production agencies, ecosystem of ancillary agencies, ecosystem of pilot, their generations, their training. That ecosystem happens. India never had such kind of ecosystem because from early 1960s when we made our first forays into buying helicopters, we bought helicopters, got licensed production at the most. That is for Chetak and Cheetahs. But that time we never formed any ecosystem based on government support. But now we find that from ALH days onwards or from LCA days onwards, government formed a body called ADA and also backed a helicopter manufacturing company, that is Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. And a certain kind of ecosystem started in Bangalore. Now many private players has come, like for example Tata, they are now making H125 helicopters or C295 Airbus fixed wing which are replacing Avro for Air Force, and now government is supporting. But one thing I must add, that instead of services, that is Army, Navy, Air Force, asking for different kinds of helicopter after every 5 years, they should also know that they should also support one kind of helicopter. For them also it is always good to have one kind of helicopter, so that their logistics line, their training of helicopter pilots or the training of fixed wing pilots, that continuity remains, and they will save on lot of logistical you can say that investment, that they should also understand. Another kind of ecosystem which now getting formed in India is civil helicopter and civil fixed wing. This is actually in the nascent stage, but what we have found that this particular government, they have actually given tasks to different kinds of ambassadors. They have been tasked that when you go to the other countries as ambassador, you should have certain kind of influence to them and try to sell our products to them. So certain kind of ecosystem from the support by the government is happening in India, but I think it will take another 2 to 3 years to get established.
Thank you, Colonel Chitale. You are also a founder of your own firm. Can you tell something about what you are doing, your entrepreneurial foray?
Actually, that firm I had found, I had made that firm during a period when I was sabbatical from Army and yet to join Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. That period was around 2014 when I left Army, and because of certain I was in Army holding some sensitive appointment. So from Army side, there was a bar on me to get employed anywhere in the government or outside for 1 year. So it is a norm in Indian government that if somebody is holding a sensitive appointment, then they cannot get any other appointment after coming out of the army or getting retirement from the army, that they cannot straight away go and do a job anywhere in India or abroad for 1 year. That is the security norm which has been clamped on us. So I was on 1 year sabbatical, and that time I had made one Chitale Solutions Consultancy, which that time I was doing consultancy with, there is one firm called Time Tooth. Time Tooth is in Noida. They were into design of undercarriages. That means undercarriages means main wheel and two other wheels which drones have got. Or that time they were doing the UAV. ADE was doing UAV called Rustum 2, if you know the thing. So Rustum 2 was being done, and its consultancy was being given by Time Tooth. For the Time Tooth, I was giving consultancy from Bangalore. So that consultancy firm I had started, but I wound up because in 2015, as I completed my 1 year of sabbatical, or you can call cooling period, what we call in army. After I finished my cooling period, I joined Hindustan Aeronautical Limited. But to management students, I want to tell that as we have 5 senses, then because of 5 senses, we have one super sense. Such, in a similar manner, we all have 6th sense also, or gut feeling, what we call. So we should keep our eyes and ears open, and wherever we find any opportunity, we should grab that opportunity. Say for opportunity comes for getting some entrepreneurial things started, please start that, because in this era, instead of doing jobs, if you can create jobs, I think that is the most important thing as a social service also, and for self also. It is the most important thing that we should do.
Thank you, Colonel Chitale. It was a wonderful interview with you. You have given a lot of information. So it is a new field which is being seen by the audience, and I am sure that they'll get benefited. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Mr. Balaji Kasal. Welcome to Ideas Matter Most. So that we have seen that you have such a diverse career exposure, I would like to ask a question which might be an obvious question that you've come across, that you've transitioned from the corporate world to entrepreneurship with Profocus value.
Right.
So could you please walk us through the key motivators that inspired you to get into the entrepreneurship?
Initially I started this in 22, Profocus value, but before that, when I graduated from IIT Mumbai, in IIT there is a business incubation, and then I joined as a one of the core team members, 6th as an employee. I had some exposure there because from starting I had entrepreneurship in my blood, I can say. My grandfather was an entrepreneur, and that was giving motivation. And we done that startup company for 4.5 years, as it was telecom technology based, and we are one of the pioneers in designing hardware at that time. It was 2004 and 6, that duration. When in India there was a lacking of hardware design and softwares to be available. But we had done that and it gone. But after 4.5 years, we thought because it was more career grade and its competition was huge, and we winded off that. But that was our own learning. But after that, I shifted to the corporate job, and I was doing it. But that blood is always that spike was always there in my brain. I had to do something, for myself, for the more impact I can do when I can control things, I can able to reach wider. That's why in 22 I exited my top position from the leading company in India. Then I started Profocus Value with the mission to help people to achieve their financial freedom, because I see that is one of the lacking field, and that is one of the important aspect in everyone's life, so they can achieve and they can take their life towards the dreams which they want to achieve in life. That was intention, and motivation. It is always there as an entrepreneurship. And why finance or investment? It is because of I see ignorance around everyone, around not only family, around people in my society, but across people. How the thinking of the money, managing the money, or handling or thinking about the money itself, right? How money is bad, money is not. Many people are not good typically. That's intention, but it's not like that. But I have to change that intention, and that's the whole idea here. And again, I have to use stock market, which is again People think it's short term and speculative, but it's not really. If your proper system process is there, you follow, it is really wealth building. You know the examples like Warren Buffett, who are built, he's one of the richest man in the world, and it's possible. That's our intention there.
Also, sir, you did not stop your transition to entrepreneurship. You also embarked your journey on becoming a writer as well. So, what were the inspirations that made you to be a writer?
Another reason for starting writing, one of the is I like the reading books because I keep learning. I'm one of the life learner. I keep learning every day, and books have given immense things to me. And I built a community now, the Intelligent Investor Hub. Right, in the same series, I written the 3 books. One is the Intelligent Investor from Mistakes, because mistakes are immediate to happen in the investment as well as in the life also. But we have to learn from someone who is already done a lot of mistakes, like Warren Buffett, and leverage our learning and experience from that his shoulder, and we can grow further. That's intention. Second book again, Risk Mastery. Risk Mastery is very specialized, and I'm talking holistically, starting from a person, a business, management, and stock market price fluctuations. This is holistic because I haven't seen any, because I've read in the books, but I haven't seen a book which is talking about it so holistically, as they are talking one or 2 factors but not holistically. That is the intention to write specifically for stock market. And third was art of selling. People talk of buying, but actually if you see, the selling is more riskier and more challenging, and it is really help you to grow your wealth. If some business is growing very well, if you sell it very early stage, you're losing out the compounding and you're going out of that business. But if you keep with the business maybe 5 years, 10 years, it is really wealth builder. It is multiplies. I've seen myself multiplying 60 times, 80 times the capital. But if you sell something, I've done those mistakes at least stage of my life. Just want to keep capturing my book. That's intention, and I want to give the specific books or specific niche topics so people can learn and use them in the investment journey and wealth management journey. That's the intention. Yeah.
So the financial literacy remains still low in most parts of the India. So what do you think is a systemic change that can help us in bringing the financial curriculum to the mainstream curriculum?
Yeah, that is one area we are lacking, which when I feel myself also experienced when in childhood. That's why I see maybe cultivating from the childhood at the family itself. That's one parameter which is individual issue challenge. And second is from the childhood or schools, we should start the course, right? The finance, it should be compulsory subject, because if you see everyone's life, once you become, after 5 years everything, from daily we are handling money, but it's never been taught what is money, how it works, how you have to use it for your life and grow and further. But that is I see gap. That's the intention of the Profocus value, educate the people so that they can understand the right mindset, right behavior finance, and they can grow. Therefore, I see they have to use from schooling purpose, and there should be some workshops or maybe educational from the lot of government agencies which are trying to do, but I don't see this should be happen in the scale. It should happen on the grassroots. I think those are really going to help people to become financially educated.
So that you mentioned about behavioral shift. So what do you think are the main behavioral mental shifts that needs to be incorporated at the individual level, at the personal level, to overcome all the financial difficulties or to secure the future financially?
Look, everything starts from mindset. Like, really, it's a very good quote. So someone said, everything is mindset. In finance also is a mindset. The way we think about the money itself, right? How we just spend some time. We meantime lose loans. But let me take one simple example. Someone goes and buys home. Okay, it is a people thinks asset. Not only a home, they buy cars or many. Nowadays they're buying tours to different countries or travels, etc. But they think they are doing something good, or even house buying on loan. I don't say it's called asset. That asset because you are going to pay the EMIs, you got stuck there, and you're going to be consuming it. You're going to stay. Unless otherwise, you are taking that home as asset and is going to getting some rent for you. Right? Asset is something which generating cash flow for you. Right? That is the basic definition of asset. It may be house, stock market, or maybe given gold or precious metals and all those. Therefore, we have to see right mindset. We have to think rightly. What is asset? What is going to come income for us? That will really help. That all mindset start from mindset only. Second comes the stories and numbers, because everyone has his own personal risk appetite, cash flows, and goals. Both based on that, they have to think what is the best suited for them. Therefore, we see in my course also, I start from mindset, and second is the clarity. Clarity, along with that, I make the personal finance statement for their asset, liability, and the cash flow, income, and liabilities. All these are, help them to at least make the base foundation strong, and from there they can decide which asset they have to take and how to use to leverage for their own life. These are the basic which I think they should be knowing it, and that will really help them in life.
Different generations view financial freedom differently. How would your advice vary for millennials, Gen Z, or older generations in terms of their view? Because today Gen Zs are giving a lot of importance to their experience, that is how they are enjoying their life currently without giving much attention to their financial future. So how would your advice vary across the generations?
Look, I came from middle class. My dad, is a government servant, and I think I'm the one who moved out of. But he always used to advise put money in the FD, the salaries, all those standard. And I respect his advice. I understand from where he's coming. But I'm the only one maybe started moving from there to stock market, and I don't go stock market directly. For first initial couple of years, I went for mutual funds, but I understood how mutual funds are working and what value addition I can do if I go directly. That those things really matters, and it will make you grow your capital over the period of time. What is the question? Sorry, I forgot. General to advise, right? Sorry. Yeah. Therefore, look, my sincere advice to everyone here, particularly general, because younger generations, because the time is on their side, right? If you see compounding equation, the time factor is not addition or multiplication, it is exponential factor, right? If you see, it is going to expand, exponentially grow over the period of time. Even if you see Warren Buffett, right, he is one of the richest man. He bought the stock at the age of 11, but he became the billionaire at the age of 56. But after that, it's everything, it has compounded, and he became one of the richest man, right? This is still, as Einstein also clearly said, compounding is the eighth wonder of the world, right? It's true, but you have to only realize, and of course there is a lot of ups and downs will be there, but therefore you have to make your story or theme or framework very strong, which will sustain and believe in that, rather than getting the spikes or fluctuations in the stock market deviate your intention or your goals.
Speaking about ups and downs, of course volatility is inevitable in the stock market. So when we are looking at the current volatility in the global markets, how should a retail investor adjust their approach to equity investments to remain on track towards financial freedom?
Yeah. Okay, this is one of the volatility is a very interesting subject. People are really worried about the volatility, but I say volatility is the friend. Volatility is friend of the traders typically, but also is for investor, because volatility, what is happening in volatility, it may go down or up, right? Because market fluctuation, because all the multiple market participants, few are the speculators, few are the traders, or few are the investors. Everyone has its own participation and role to play in the market. And now fourth guy has come up, which is the artificial intelligence, the algo trading they call. It don't have emotions because it's pre-programmed. All these going to affect the market. Is going to fluctuations will be there, but in the fluctuations or the volatility, which is say people, it will help you to correct your mistakes. When market is going up, you might have realized over the period of time some mistakes you have done. You bought some wrong stock, for example. That is the opportunity you have to correct it, right? And when it is going down, at that time it will give you opportunity to buy more and more piece of the business, right? That is the issue, the intention, mindset that really help you to look at the volatility correctly. And if you are sure about your framework and thesis, and any volatility is only opportunity for you. I'll say at least I like volatility myself. Even if I'm an investor, I play dual role actually as a trading. Trading is for the cash generation, which I call very short time, few months to years, and investment is over the period of time. and that's actually compounding and wealth building. And therefore these two roles help me. Volatility is my friend, and I think we have to think that your thesis is correct, then you have to be on the you'll enjoy the fruits of this whole bit of time.
Right, sir. So when we are addressing the investors or the aspiring investors, so what are the 3 top pieces of advice that you would suggest them to achieve financial freedom and secure their future financially?
Again, I'll go to back to basic. First, bring the clarity. Clarity, when I say, is just where you are standing today, what is aspirations, what is your goals, what make you think is going to help you with the control risk or risk which you want to take, you want to expose to risk. That's one. And second is the mindset or behavior. You have to control, you have to be, everyone has a bias. I have my own biases, right? Everyone has his own biases, but first step, you have to identify your own biases, and we have to work towards those biases. How those biases are going to affect your behavior, how is going to, the problem with the behavior bias happens is unconscious. You never come to know how you are getting trapped in that, right? Because the way we look at the money is different way. Something you own at the price, you don't look at the same money which is hard earned, right? It's easy coming money, but money has a fungible, and that you have to look at those clearly. That comes with the right mindset. Greed, fear is there. Envy is not the bigger, I see, challenging, because people see, a lot of people, as you also said clearly, tools, etc. They want to spend more and more, younger generation. But you have to see what is your, living within limit. I don't say don't fun. I do a lot of traveling. I enjoy. I like meeting people. I travel across. But still, I'll try to live in the within limits, my own capacity. And third, which I say is build your own framework of process which suits to you. Don't look at the neighbor or someone else what is doing. The buying, selling, or don't even what, because we don't know what next person is coming from, what is the intention, what he must understand, right? He or she. The point you have to see what is your thesis is correct. You build it, and it's going to not going to happen in day one. You have to see this is an evolving process. It will evolve over the period of time, and this once you make that evolution, it is only smooth journey. It is only you have to I'll see myself putting on the auto mode. Everything go automatically. Only once a while I need to look at. I know what is happening, and I see what the numbers are telling me. Right? These 3 things I see. One is the clarity. Second is the mindset, and third is the own framework which automate. Right? That is whole intention. Because at the end of the day, what I say is what we taught from childhood is work for money. Right? Take this degree, do this job, or do this business to get money. But it's not that. I say you make money to work for you, right? That is the ultimate financial freedom you're going to achieve, and it's possible nowadays. A lot of options are there, opportunities are there. At least India is really, I say golden. But that's one of the reasons I stay back, after IIT in India itself, because I see a lot of opportunities, and many things can be done and beautifully, and I really enjoy. Thank you.
So my final question to you is about your mission, which is indeed inspirational, that empowering 1 million individuals to achieve financial freedom. So what are your plans in context to Profocus value as to how are you going to achieve that mission? Because you have explicitly mentioned before 2030 is what you are achieving to.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for the question, and give me an opportunity to talk on that. The Profocus value is if you see the name itself, the Pro is a focus is there on value, right? You have to focus on value. Everything is its own value, and under that I created one community, the Intelligent Investor Hub. Okay, the whole mission, the value system on which I'm working in that community as a community, which is lifetime membership there, is based on the 3 principles which I say. First principle is the freedom, right? Everyone has a right to live their life freedomly. Right? You have to live freedomly. Money is important. You have to make sure the money is there always for you. You're working for you. For that, you might generate multiple cash streams or passive incomes. One, that is the freedom. And second, I say is wealth. The wealth, again, you have to build multiple streams on that passive income, which is going to help you to build not only wealth for yourself, for your as a legacy, right? And the third I say is a service or contribution. That is very close to me. That's one of the reasons for me. If you see, I don't need to work actually. even if I still I love to be connect to the people and talk to people and help them in whichever manner possible. That is my way of giving back to the community. Right? That's the whole intention of this community, the Intelligent Investor Hub. Therefore, I kept it those. I made the life membership for that. Because people has to find a safe place where they can come, they can learn, not only learn, they master, and they can share their own ideas. And the safe place they can stay together as a community, and they are ready to share and evolve. This evolution process, everything. As a human also, we evolved over a period of time, right? And I hope this is going to evolve and help them to achieve the financial freedom for themselves, their family, and their society, and by large as a nation, right? Because nation is formed from so family is an individual, right? They satisfy their own job, what they're doing, and what their passion they're following, and the dreams they're achieving. And I hope India is going to become one of the happiest country and harmonious country. That's the whole intention there.
Thank you, sir. That was really insightful.
Thank you.